This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so last class if we observe, just we are trying to implement this firewall concept basically, right? So if you observe, we are trying to implement this whatever the things which are discussed in firewall, so practically, basically, right? So uh, after implementation of this sequential order, whatever the order which you are following, right? So we have discussed some cases as well. So nothing but case one. Uh, Directly we are connecting from internet to private machine by using RDP, but this thing is not possible. Okay, so why it is not possible here? Basically, so after implementing the above sequential step, so now we need to cross check whether we are able to access this virtual machines or not. Right? If you observe, we are able to connect only public machine, but we are unable to connect with the private machine using RDP software because private machine is associated with destination RGFN subnetwork, and also in bold it is having some problem. So that is the reason we are not able to connect private machine instead of public machine. Okay, so there is nothing but case one basically where we are not able to connect with the private machine. So case two, what we're doing is we are connecting from internet to public machine, from public machine to one more machine. I mean private machine we are connecting because this thing is, we're able to achieve this connection because the reason is if you observe this public machine and private machine, both are in a single virtual network, right? I mean both are available in a single virtual network. That is the reason we are able to connect from public machine to private machine. This is nothing but the default communication what we are calling basically. Okay, so this is a thing. By default we are able to connect from one virtual machine to another virtual machine if and only if there any same virtual network. Okay, so we already discussed this concept. So just by using some public IP and private IP, but here whenever if you are communicating or whenever if you are connecting from public machine to private machine, you need to provide the private IP address here basically. Okay, so these things we discussed already, right? So then we need to discuss about case three. So, but if you want to discuss case three, again we need to implement this all these steps sequential. Okay, so I will not discuss anything. So just observe, okay, whether uh, what are the steps which I am doing, whether it is correct or not. If something went wrong, let me know immediately. Okay, so I'm creating some resource group with source RG. So is it fine? Any doubts here while creating this firewall design? Any of the doubts? So even this case 1, case 2. So if you observe, we are not able to access this private machine. So you know already the reason why we are not able to access. So case 2. So we need to connect from internet to public machine and public machine to private machine. But while accessing from public machine to private machine, we need to provide the private IP address of private machine, right? So that means we'll do it now. So go to this public machine. So copy this public IP address. Go to RDP, connect, provide the username and password. Honest. So now if you observe this private machine private IP is 10.12.1.4. So that IP address you need to provide within this public machine. So this is currently in public machine, right? So type here RDP. What is the private IP address? 10.12.1.4, right? 10.12.1.4. Click on connect. So provide the username and password. Click on yes. So now here if you go to this IE and if you type some room.com, right? Here we are not able to access. So what is the message we're getting here? So but if we are into access message as, so this is the message, right? So if you observe this one basically, so if you observe this message, so what it is saying, HTTP request from, right, 10.12.1.4. So this 10.12.4 is nothing but a private IP address of the private machine. If you observe, this is the private IP address, right? So this is the same thing. So colon something it is saying. So nothing but 50 220 something. So what this thing is exactly we'll discuss. Okay. So to www.google.com colon 80. So this 80 if you observe this is nothing but a HTTP basically. Okay. So simply it's saying, so and then URL www.google.com and the action is deny. Something it is saying simple way is no rule match proceeding with default action. Okay, so we can understand that we are not able to access Google and it is saying something as a message as a no rule match. Okay, so this is the thing basically. Okay, so any doubts till now, any of you, these things we discussed here previously, any of you, is it fine till now?
Sure, we are fine.
Okay, so from here onwards we will discuss basically. So as I mentioned you, so we're getting this message, right? So now basically till now what we have done, if you observe from this diagram, nothing but from internet to private machine, sorry, internet to public machine. So internet to public machine, from public machine to private machine we access, and within this private machine if you're trying to access some internet we are not able to access, right? So now what we are going to do is, so instead of hitting from internet to public and public to private machine, so now internet to firewall, okay, and from this firewall to private. So what is case 3? Internet to firewall and then firewall to private machine. So now we need to achieve this uh, pipeline or this flow we need to achieve now. Instead of internet to public and public to private machine. Anyway, within the private machine, we are not able to access Google. So now our intention is we need to access internet within this private machine. So how it is possible here? So just internet to firewall and firewall to private machine. So this flow we need to implement now. Okay. So in order to get that network within the private machine, we need to implement case 3. That is internet to firewall, firewall to private machine. Okay. So in order to establish this, so we need to create a NAT group inside of firewall. So what we need to create here? NAT group. NAT group. So network address transmission. This rule we need to implement. Address transmission. Somebody did something. Okay, so basically it is a NAT rule. So somebody will call as a network address transmission or network admission transmission. It is not admission mostly, right? It is only network address transmission. Okay, so this tool we need to implement inside of firewall. So if you go to this firewalls, right? So click on this source hyphen, sorry, underscore fw. So somewhere we're having rules here. This is a natural collection. So if you click on this uh, nat rule, so what is this? Network address. So what this rule will do exactly, right? Communication between public IP address and private IP address through dynamic port ranges. Okay, so just I'm closing all these things. So if you observe this snap tool, what it is stating, so communication between public IP address and private IP address through dynamic port ranges. Okay, so what is dynamic port ranges first of all? So just go to Google and type some dynamic port ranges. So if you observe this dynamic port ranges, what is the thing? This is the range basically. Okay, 49,152 to 65,535. So means within this specific numbers or within this specific range, we can mention some number. So that is the thing here what they have done. So this is our IP address, right? Colon. This is nothing but what we are calling as a dynamic range. Okay, you can give any name, but if you observe this specific error, so this is the dynamic range what we are, this is the dynamic number what we have got it. Okay, so now here this communication between public IP address and private IP address through dynamic port range. So we need to configure this dynamic port range in somewhere. So whatever the dynamic port range which you have configured, by using the same dynamic port range only we need to access as well. That is the meaning here basically. Okay, so here name, maybe I can use some private machine. So you can give any name. Okay, it is not a mandatory. Or maybe some you can give. We are not able to access Google, right? So type some Google, any name you can give. So maybe some priority 100. So here name I'm giving some private machine. So protocol TCP UDP IP address source star destination IP address. Okay, so here destination IP address is nothing but firewall's public IP address. What is the firewall public IP address here? This is the thing, right? So copy this one, paste it. Okay. Destination port. Here we need to mention some dynamic port number, some number. So here this is the range, right? Within this range you can provide some number here. So maybe for our convenience, I'm giving some 50. Okay. So translation IP address, nothing but private machine, private IP address. So what is private machine, private IP address here? This is nothing but this is the IP address, right? on this translation code. What is the RTP port? 338, right? So if you observe this definition once again, so communication between public IP address and private IP address through dynamic port ranges. So this is our, if you observe, this is nothing but a public IP address of firewall, and this is the what we call private IP address. In between, we are providing the dynamic port range. That is nothing but what is exactly that. Okay. Click on add here. Is it added? So it is added, right? So now go to RTP. Provide firewall IP address colon your dynamic port range. So that is on connect. Provide username and password. On yes. Here previously we were in private machine which are not able to access some internet, right? So this is the same screen we're getting. So it is. Still, are we able to get it here? So here what we have done, if you observe this diagram, so from internet to firewall, from this firewall to private machine, we have established this communication. So how we establish? By using some NAT role. Okay, so we have taken some public IP address of this firewall, and this private machine is nothing but a, I mean, private IP address is nothing but a private machine is private IP address through dynamic port range. I mean, whenever if you're trying to access this private machine, I mean, whenever if you're trying to access this private machine, how we are accessed here? So we have provided the public IP address of firewall colon some dynamic port range. So whatever the port which you have configured inside of this NAT role. So then you are able to access this private machine directly. So here we don't have this public machine. Previously we have access from internet to public and public to private, but here we don't have public machine now. So now internet to firewall and firewall to directly private machine, right? But still we are not able to access internet. So till now it is fine. So how we have access from internet to firewall, firewall to private. So is this flow is fine, all of you? What I have achieved? Any doubts here? Hello, fine. Okay. So now, so we are able to communicate from internet to firewall, firewall to private machine, but still we are not able to access internet, right? So now what we need to do is, So from private to firewall, and we need to communicate to internet as well. I mean, we need to access some internet within this private machine. Okay. So if you want to achieve this one, I mean, private machine to firewall, firewall to internet. So for this, we need to implement some network rule correction. So that is also inside of rules. Okay. So if you go to here, we're having some network rule correction. So this rule we need to implement. So here, if you observe, what we are doing is we are connecting from internet to firewall, firewall to private machine to firewall, firewall to internet. Nothing but we are establishing the mutual communication between them. Simple. Okay. So if you want to HS some internet to firewall, firewall to private machine, we need to implement some NAT rule correction. And now if you want to access internet within this private machine, right, we need to implement some network rule collection. That is a one more rule. Simple. Okay. So just click on add network rule collection here. So maybe you can provide maybe some uh, what we can say that you can give some name, maybe ABC, any name you can do. Okay, fire is maybe 100. So here maybe I'm giving some internet so called any source IP address, source star, destination IP address, destination star, here destination ports, right? So basically here what it is saying here, if you observe, so it is not allowing 80, right? So nothing but 80 is a port which is related to HTTP. So I want to allow HTTP and HTTPS, simple. Okay, so for this I'm giving some 80 comma 445. It's nothing but a HTTP and HTTP. Yes, click on add here. So it will take some time to add. Maybe now we are, even though it is updating, we are able to access it. Still not. Okay, so it is added, right? Here now we are able to access internet within this private machine. Okay, so is it fine what I have done till now? Any doubts here, or if you're not understanding something, let me know. Fine. How we are able to achieve, I mean, how we are able to access internet within this private machine. So what I have done basically, after implementing the above concept, we are able to establish communication between firewall. I mean, that is nothing but a IP address to private machine using network, right? So there is nothing but a dynamic port address. But we also need to establish the communication between private machine to firewall to internet. Okay, so for this we need to implement network rule collection. Okay, this thing we already implemented. Okay, so after implementing this network rule collection, so as you know that we are able to access some internet as well, right? But I mean, after implementing network rule collection, right, we are able to access we are able to access internet. But here my requirement is I want to access particular sites through internet. Okay, so then we need to implement one more rule called as application rule collection. Okay, so here if you observe basically what I mean to say is, so we're able to access internet, right? And if you observe, we're able to access some Gmail as well, right? And if you go for some new tab, so if you're go to Google, so maybe some LinkedIn, so I will able to access some LinkedIn as well. So whatever the sites you want, so you're able to access within this machine. So my intention is basically now here what is the intention of this statement is, so instead of accessing each and every site within this private machine, I want to access only particular sites. Okay, so let us assume I am accessing some www.google.com basically. Okay, so this is a parent domain basically. So what is XL domain? We'll discuss later. But at this point of time, just understand that this is a parent domain. So within this Google, right, we are again having some gmail.com. Okay. So here, uh, this is what we can call as a subdomain. Maybe. Okay. So like that www dot something youtube.com. This is also subdomain, right? So here my intention is I want to access only Google. I don't want to access either Gmail, YouTube, or maybe some LinkedIn. So these sites I don't want to access. I want to access only google.com. Okay. So how can I do that? So that thing we are able to achieve by using some one more rule called as a application rule collection. So where it is available here, this application rule collection that is also inside of rules only of respect to firewall. Okay. So here if you observe, here also we're having some application rule collection. But if you want to implement this type of requirement, right? First of all, you need to delete this one, network rule collection here. So then go to application rule collection, click on application rule collection. So here you can give some maybe some Google Hello, something any name. So it is not allowing space. Okay, so priority as 100, action hello. So go to Google. Okay, so just I want to allow on Google IP address source type is IP address source star protocol port. So here I want to allow HTTP colon 80 and HTTPS colon double four three. Okay, and target www.google.com. Okay, so just click on add. What happened? Okay, so it is taking another operation. So just delete this thing. So network version we are trying to delete. First of all, it will take some time to delete. So then on it is allowing to add some application tool collection. So just wait for some 1 minute. Okay, so it is deleted. So try to add this application collection Google only. Google source type IP address source star here HTTP colon HTTPS colon double four three. HTTP colon 80 HTTPS colon double four three. Right. So target www. So click on add. So it is updated, right? Just refresh it here. So here we are not able to access Google, or if you type some google.com, we are able to access here within some, you type some LinkedIn. Here we are not able to access. So here we are able to access only Google. That's it. Irrespective of Google, we are not able to access any other sites here. Okay, so that is possible by using application rule collection. So if you want to implement this application rule collection, or if you want to implement this type of requirements, right? So first of all, you need to delete this network rule collection. So if you go with some network rule collection, it is going to allow any sites, whatever the sites if you want to access here. But if you want to restrict, or if you want to access a particular site, so then you need to go for application rule collection. Before implementing this application rule collection, we need to delete the existing network rule collection here. Okay, this is the firewall concept. So what I have achieved so far. This is both theory and practical implementation of firewall concept. Any doubts, any of you, or if something is, if you did not understand something, let me know.
Shiva.
Yes,
Hello. How to
yes.
frame a question, Shiva, is like that creating a Windows virtual machine using firewall.
I did not get you. What is the question?
How to frame a question? You said that this is the firewall design.
Mhm.
Yeah, how to frame a question? I think you said that you going through the Windows virtual machine.
Frame a question.
Yeah, how to frame a question? They will ask like,
Frame a question.
yeah, how to frame a question on this?
What is the question? I did not get that.
No, no, I am asking that. No, how to create Windows virtual machine using firewall like that.
Question means what is the question? I'm not getting
I
that.
think Shiva was asking for the interview question, like interview question, how they
Yeah,
will ask
Okay,
you.
okay, okay.
Is it
So
correct?
maybe, is it yes, Jagdish?
yeah, sure.
Yes, so they may ask you that this network version, different types of rules. So what we are, if you want to access some particular sites, right? So they will ask you some applicable version. So within this rule, so if you observe what we need to do, these all these things they're going to ask it basically. Okay, they will not ask any this virtual machine. If you want to implement some firewall, right? So what
Okay,
service we need to select? So this type of things. Okay.
okay, sure. Thank you.
Any other thing? So that's all for today.